Hello, everybody, and welcome to today's panel. It is connected to the exhibition, Her Now Elsewhere, the Contemporary Bulgarian Women's Art. And today we will have a conversation with four of the Bulgarian artists that are represented in this exhibition. Two of them, Desislava Hristova and Borjana Rusanova-Ina, are going to be in person. And we also have virtual connection with Elena Peteva and Borjana Rossi. We cannot see them, but they can hear us, and they will participate in the panel, and you can ask them questions. And this is the setup. But so this exhibition presents works by Bulgarian women artists based in Bulgaria and the United States. Some of the artists live and work between Bulgaria and Belgium, France, and the Netherlands, in constant movement across different cultural and social environments. What unites them are their Bulgarian roots, which shape their identity, sensibility, and perception, carrying the memory, complex history and culture of Bulgaria, colonial domination, monarchy, socialism, transition, post-socialism, migration, and democracy. So when this exhibition was organized and curated by Desislava Hristova with support from Fulbright Scholar in Residence program, we considered what we can work with. And this is an interesting exhibition that I think is of interest not just to the art students, but to anybody who is navigating complex kind of spaces, cultural and political, and how the artists have been employing strategies of having their voice heard under different circumstances. And I think this is particularly the moment that would be of interest, especially to the students who are navigating the contemporary currents of political and social upheavals. So this is kind of how we wanted to structure this panel. But before we move on to the questions, I would like to share short biographies of the panel participants. And first, I would like to speak of Desislava Hristova. She's a Sofia-based visual artist who works primarily with printmaking, photography, installation, and mixed media. She earned her MA in graphic arts from the National Academy of Arts in Sofia in 1994, defended her PhD in 2008, and became a professor in 2019, serving as head of the Department of Graphics and chair of the Control Council at the National Academy of the Arts through 2024. Since then, she's been also secretary, since 2016, she's been secretary of the Graphics and Illustration section of the Union of Bulgarian Artists. It's a big deal, we'll talk about it. Desislava Hristova had curated numerous exhibitions of contemporary Bulgarian graphics and painting in Bulgaria and abroad, including China, Serbia, and Slovakia. She worked in international workshops and residence in Germany, Xi'an Academy of Fine Arts in China, printmaking workshops in New Zealand, the foundation CIEC in Spain in 2014 and 2019, and Side Arts in Paris, as well as in Barcelona in 2024. So right now, this time, she is a part of the Fulbright Scholar in Residence program, and she's teaching a class at Stockton University, and is working and available for critiques and conversations, and we're excited in working with students and negotiating conversation with students through this whole spring semester. Also, she has an honorary diploma from the National Graphic Exhibition, Georgy Gerasimov, and she has awards from Alliance Regional Competition and the Graphic Forum in Stara and the grand prize from the mayor of Izgiv district in Sofia, and also the graphic competition in Spain in 2013. It's an international prestigious competition, second prize, and a short list selection at the most contemporary Bulgarian artist competition. So, without further ado, Desislava. Borjana Rusanova-Ina, her works reflects of the entanglements of place and belonging in relationship to language, nationhood, and the landscape genre. Borjana Boriana earned an MA in Art Design and Architecture Education from the Glasgow School of Art in Scotland in 2009, and an MFA in Painting and Drawing from Ohio State University in 2016. While living in Scotland, she was a visiting artist through the Goals Project, a nationwide initiative which focused on bringing artists into Scottish classrooms. She has been an artist in residence at the Headland Center for the Arts, big deal, in 2022, and Wasaic Project in New York in 2023, an interlude artist residency in New York, and her work was selected by Bulgarian art critic Vesela Nazarova for the 2021 Young Artist to Watch exhibition at the Credo Bonum Foundation in Sofia. I will not mention all of the exhibitions because Boriana is a really productive artist, but the noteworthy ones are Amarillo Biennial at the Amarillo Museum of Art in Texas, Northern Illinois University Art Museum, Stockton University Art Gallery, and a solo exhibition at the Springfield Museum of Art in Ohio and Penn State Altoona in Pennsylvania. Between 2011 and 2014, Boriana also served as a vice president of Roy G. Beef Gallery for Emerging Artists in Ohio and was a founding member of the Couchfire Art Collective. And currently, Boriana is an assistant professor of art at the Skidmore College in New York. Now, moving on to our virtual participants, I would like to introduce Elena Peteva. She works on painting, drawing, and installation. She exhibits in the US and international, including European Museum of Modern Art in Barcelona, Spain, Butler Institute of American Art in Ohio, Arnott Art Museum in New York, Fort Wayne Museum of Art in Indiana, and Museum of Pennsylvania Academy of Fine Arts. Numerous contemporary art galleries also represent her across nation in USA and globally. Her work is in public and private art collection, including Princeton University and Pennsylvania Academy of Fine Arts. And she's a recipient of numerous awards, including 3 Elizabeth Greenshield Foundation grants. And now I would quote Helena. She says, "My work is an allegorical representation of our individual, social, and global states. The image functions as a subtle but charged signifier that creates a net of meaning. I seek a distilled representation, an impossible stillness that captures the ephemeral essence of now, the memory of the past, and the sense of what is to come, and creates a deeper reality. What I try to do in my work is define, present, and illuminate things which are, perhaps, irrepresentable." And last but not least, I would like to mention Boriana Rossi. Dr. Rosa is an interdisciplinary artist and curator who works in the field of technology and art, film, video, performance, and bioart. Her work is focused on influence of technology and science on all fields of human activity. Rosa's work has been shown internationally in such venues as Brooklyn Museum and Exit Art in New York, Kunstwerk and Akademie der Kunst in Berlin, Haifa Museum of Art in Haifa, Museum of Contemporary Art, MUMOK in Vienna, Zacheta Gallery in Warsaw, Sofia Arsenal Museum of Contemporary Art, and National Gallery of Fine Arts in Sofia, First Balkan Biennale in Thessaloniki, Koreana Museum in Seoul, Biennial of Electronic Art in Australia, Foundation for Art and Creative Technology in Liverpool, and Society of Art and Technology in Montreal, amongst others. In 2018, together with Heidi Helny, Associate Professor of Biology at Syracuse University, Dr. Rosa had established the BioArt Mixer, a forum at Syracuse University where artists and scientists from different fields meet to share their research and discuss it with representatives of other disciplines. Her works are in numerous collections, amongst which is Contact, the art collection of Esteban Group, State Museum of Contemporary Art in Thessaloniki, Elizabeth Sackler Museum of Feminist Art, Brooklyn Museum in New York, Sofia City Art Gallery, Sofia Arsenal Museum of Contemporary Art, and others. So as you can see, today we have a rather illustrious panel, but also what is particularly exciting for me is we have voices that speak to very different experiences when it comes to the contemporary art, the different fields of contemporary art, and also, interestingly, different relationships if we consider like Bulgaria as a symbolic and geographic space. So, without further ado, I would like to start with the first question to all of the participants. What did it mean to be a woman artist from Bulgaria? And what does it mean today in the context of democracy? And I would leave the panelists, I'm not going to call any names. You guys decide who goes first.
Hi, everyone. Can you hear me? Okay. A little closer? Okay. Thank you. Okay. I think that feels good. That feels good. It's nice to see all these faces, all the students. Thank you for hosting us. Thank you to Desislava for inviting me to come back. This is my second exhibition at Stockton, and I'm finally here, so I feel like really fortunate. This is a very interesting question, what it means to be a woman artist from Bulgaria for me. I personally have somewhat of a conflicting kind of feeling because I am from Bulgaria and I spent all my formative years there. But at the age of 17, I left to be an exchange student here in the US, and I've been an expat for over 25 years. I've lived here, I've lived in Scotland. So I don't know anything about art from a Bulgarian perspective. Everything that I learned about art education, being an artist, practicing happened in Western institutions here in the US and also in Scotland. So when I think about being an artist, I feel like I'm an American artist, but then I make work about my home context oftentimes. So it's not like a very clear definition to me, like nationality or nation state and that identity as an artist are two separate ways of thinking about that. So it's an interesting question, and I think Desislava would have maybe a different take on it as someone who is from the academy, has taught there, went there, and has lived most of her life in Sofia and in Bulgaria as an artist.
Yeah. Hi everybody. I'm really happy to be here and honored, and I want to thank you for everybody who is, first Mariana Smith and all Stockton University, all staff from Stockton, and for the students, from Ryan. Okay, finally I make my acknowledgement for everybody. I do not miss nobody. It's a really interesting question. Yes, I'm happy to, Boriana, it's near to me, to help me if some words is disappeared in my mind because it's important. It's an interesting question. First, our history, I don't know, do you have any idea what does it mean to born and grow up in a socialistic country, especially this is East European country like mine. Bulgaria, first, it's maybe, I'll speak a little bit for history because first of it, it's a patriarchal system, cross and jumped to socialistic system. We passed three different kind of systems very shortly. For one country, it's really, really hard. It means our society is just jumping. We can't do this, just jump in the different system. Now I realize this matter of fact. For me, it's easier to understand some different culture, maybe because of this need to jump, because we need to survive. At the same time, in Bulgaria, to be an artist, though, was first to need to be member of Union of Bulgarian Artists. If you are not member, you are nobody. It's not possible to be an artist at all. And first, before that, you need to graduate in our Academy of Art. It was the only one options. There is no choice. There is only one options. In this one options, into these options, we have freedom inside. It's a really interesting phenomenon because when you pass if you were just under pressure of system of socialism, or it doesn't matter which kind of system, if it's a totalitarian way, it's every time it's pressure. It's not freedom outside, but our freedom was inside us. And in the same time, we comes together. We all of society, Bulgarians, we live in a big lie. And every of us knowing perfectly this is a lie. And in this way, start making art with sense of level down, like a jokes, like a satirics, ironic. In this soup, to be woman artist is make a interesting, different everything. Because when I was student, in example, a lot of my colleagues told to me, "Oh well, there is no famous women artists at all in the history. What are you doing here?" Means, and okay, most of the women artists, we are here just to get married with somebody, that's it. And I was, what? I really want to make art, first of all. And it's to make my own way, not like, okay, see, it was, for us, like women artists, was under second pressure. First pressure of the system, and the second one is from the patriarchal system. In the same time, Bulgaria, we have right to vote for women, maybe 50, much before the German, I think. It's around 1950 something. I'm not correct, and the number is not important. And it was just obviously was not real thinking to women are equal to men, but maybe it's too. Yeah, maybe it's enough to take. And that in this soap, I'm here to like women artist, and it's really different sensibility, because I'm not only real women artist. I'm secretary of the Union of Bulgarian Artists. It's really difficult to say to your colleagues, man, what to do. In the same, yes, because, okay, I'm the boss. I know I'm the boss. And they expect me, everybody expect me to be the boss. And especially when I was chairman in a printmaking department. And in one side, they tell me, okay, you need to be so strong. You are the boss. The second side is my colleagues. I say, it's nothing worth say clearly. It was under the table. I don't know how. Yes, difficult question. I don't know how to answer clearly. But
You're still
maybe
the
it's
boss.
good. Yes.
You're still a total boss.
Yeah. I'm still the.
Okay, but I would like to also open the question for our virtual presence. Artists.
Can you hear us?
Yes,
Oh, you're there, okay.
Selena?
Okay,
Yeah?
go ahead and
Can you
speak.
hear us okay? Yeah?
Yes, we can hear
Okay,
you.
great. Brianna, if you don't mind, I'll go first, or if you would like to go first,
Yeah, sure, yes.
whichever way.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, great. Well, hi everyone. It's my pleasure to join you. I'm a Bulgarian American artist. I, like Buriana Rusinova, I came to the United States. I left Bulgaria at the age of 17, which I suspect some of you are close to this age. And I came to the US to study art. And I have been involved in art ever since. So I guess I would like to address a more of an aerial view of this experience, and I guess the state of being Bulgarian American, which many of us probably know people who are from one country living in another country. So this is exactly what it is. In a way, it feels like having a hybrid identity. Perhaps we can define a hybrid identity as a continually shifting identity of individuals who are defined or belonging to more than one country or more than one culture. That is individuals with socio-political, cultural hybrid identity. So having such an identity means one is no longer completely Bulgarian, in my case, and would never be completely American either, no matter how how many years one has lived in the United States. So I have been here since 1995, and I feel exactly this way as half of one and half of the other. So, which is a very interesting thing to be and position to have. In a way, I think of it as having different points of view or perspectives on everything. Because being a hybrid, in a way, gives you simultaneously the aerial point of view of the outsider on things, and also the micro view of the local, creating a complex, layered perception of things, um, being seen from one's experience from the country of origin and the experience of the country where one lives and works and creates. Um, So, what does it mean to be a woman artist from Bulgaria who lives in the United States and who spent more than half of my life in the United States? Well, um, no matter what, my point of view and some of my formative years being in Bulgaria and some in the United States, but my origin being Bulgarian, my family being Bulgarian, my parents having lived their whole lives in Bulgaria, it comes to one word, I guess, resilience. And it's a really big word, but when you think about the Bulgarian socialist history, through the turbulent changes and times of crisis of the 90s, which Bulgaria was experiencing, to the decades since of a country which the location of Bulgaria makes it destined to always be pulled east and west because it's in Eastern Europe, yet it's part of Europe. So in a way, we're destined to constantly be in search of democracy and defining what democracy is, yet being pulled in both directions. And being part of such a country with a lot of rich arts and culture, yet a lot of political changes and a lot of dramatic historical changes, embeds this resilience on a personal level, social level as well in one, and indefinitely leaves a mark, a certain mark in one's creative work too. Buriana, I'll have you take it from here.
Yes, yeah, I can continue. Again, thank you very much for inviting me to be part of the exhibition and to also be able to share my thoughts here at the panel. Desi, thank you very much. It is not only a pleasure, but an honor. Also, I wanted to thank to the university and to Ryan and to everybody with whom I worked for this show. Unfortunately, I won't be able to see it in person, but at least my voice is present, somehow hanging in the air in the room that I see from here. Yeah, as I'm not, so there are a lot of things that have been said already from the previously speaking artists, and they are related to the hybrid identity of being somebody who is stepping in different even continents, not only countries, which is my case as well, because I left Bulgaria in 2005 to do my second MFA in electronic arts at the Rensselaer Polytechnic Institute in Troy, New York. And since then I have been living across borders and continents. But at the same time, I wanted to say that the definition Bulgarian artist it implies this idea of borders and nationality. And nationalities are, in terms of their definition, it is a notion that has been challenged over the years, and even more with the entrance of Bulgaria into the European Union. So I would say about myself, speaking about myself, my career started in 1997, which is not part of the socialist past. It is a lot later. And at the same time, I always wanted to be an international artist, somebody who goes across borders, but also communicates and acts within contexts that are not my own. I believe in the way of, I actually believe in exchange of knowledge, exchange of aesthetics, exchange of values among people. And this is something that formed me and formed a lot more my identity than saying that I belong to a specific place. So in these terms, I would say that, again, I just wanted to repeat what Elena was saying. There is these multiple entry points to every single thing that you think about or you do, because you have this communication with all these different contexts, which enriches you, makes you a person that is flexible and also empathetic and able to understand and communicate with people across the board and across borders, across borders, which again is enriching. My final thoughts on this question are related to what is shaping, in my opinion, Bulgarian art when you go to the country right now, because I spend a lot of time every year and also exhibit extensively in Bulgaria. I'm in the national collections of the National Gallery and participate actively in the context there. So after 2007, when Bulgaria became part of the European Union, a lot of Bulgarian artists do not live in Bulgaria, and they live abroad and come back to Bulgaria. This is actually a manifestation of this I would say cosmopolitan identity, and a lot of artists that have this hybrid identity that Elena was talking about. So in a way, it is even hard for me to identify what exactly Bulgarian art is, except if we think about what is happening within the territory. And it also, again, this concept, this idea floats across different generations who have different experiences, who belong to different places for varieties of reasons, and develop their biography according to that. That's all I wanted to say. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much for sharing these experiences. And what I find particularly interesting is we were looking at kind of this hybrids, like transitional spaces of identity and changes in locale. And I wanted to ask a question, because this is something that I myself, as a transplant from former Soviet Union, has been interested in, especially in 2026. What all of you have shared is that your formative years were in Bulgaria, but like artistic career had flourished in the different spaces. But with that, if you look back at perhaps the generations that came before you, and looking back at the strategies and opportunities that you have encountered as an artist, would you talk, and considering that we have a young, like mostly young students audience, would you talk about kind of what you have seen as an artist, kind of strategies for survival and or artistic creation after different types of regimes and different types of political structures? And whether or not kind of your ability to express yourself freely, like this is also like another interesting concept, like expressing yourself freely. It's like, what's an artist? What's a Bulgarian artist? Like, do you get to express yourself freely? But do you see the relevance looking back at the strategies that you have employed as an artist who was less constrained, and looking back at the generations that came before you, looking back at like historical art of previous generations, would you look at the strategies for survival and artistic creation, and what relevance do you see today of such strategies? I don't know if, yes, it's a very long question, but I think I made sense. And it's open, like, please speak up, whoever wants to go first.
I can get us started. There's two Burianas, by the way. One is online, and I'm the other one. And both of our names are similar, Rusinova or Rosa, but I have one extra, it's Aina, so I would be BRI, just to lighten the mood a little bit with this difficult question. But it's a very interesting one. So I was born in the mid-'80s. I didn't experience the regime much. The Berlin Wall fell in '89, so I was 5 years old. When I started becoming an artist in the US, going through art school and things like that, I was looking back at my upbringing in Bulgaria, trying to find what was worthy as subject for me as an artist, but also trying to learn about Bulgarian art from the outside. So I don't have much of a perspective on like the authoritarian rule and how art developed during that time, but I did find some really interesting literature and kind of critique that revolved around this idea of subversive mimicry, which was a tool that a lot of creatives used during that time. And I come from painting, and actually painting as a discipline didn't really offer a lot of resistance during that time. If you know the socialist realist movement, it's probably the most well-known one, and that is really just another tool for propaganda at the time. So painting as a genre didn't offer much resistance, but genres like poetry and theater offered a lot of resistance. I think of like, ways of maybe language can have a double meaning. So you could use something subversive and like offer a critique or a resistance in those genres that somehow was okay in the public eye in a way where maybe picture making was harder to do. So I found that very interesting. And I'm very much an appropriation artist. And so, subversive mimicry is a type of appropriation. Like you take the logic or like the rhetoric of the regime or authoritarian rule, and then you find a new lens to sort of offer your own opinion or perspective on that. So it's not something that I lived, but it's something that I learned about as a young artist, and I still kind of carry it in my own work. So I'll pass the mic now to someone else.
Okay, it's my turn, obviously. Thank you for survival, for the answer to this question. Maybe for me, easier to say because my father was an artist and I saw him, how he survived in this period of time when I'm a child. And now I realized in how I said before, we was free inside and not free outside. It's really interesting topic because now I can see the opposite. We physically are free to go everywhere, but in our minds stay most closer and closer. It's really interesting for me to see the young people, how difficult for them is to be free, to be really free inside. But this is the different, maybe it's not, I don't know. Survival was, okay, I was first year student when the Berlin Wall is fall down. I saw the big protest. I was there. I have a picture for me, myself, with our boss, Georg Todor Zhivkov, with down the head. I saw there is internet somewhere because I was under the neck of my colleagues. It was so high. I was visible everywhere. Me with this poster. Never mind, this was everywhere. it was crazy because before that, in socialistic times, our Union of Bulgarian Artists was the richest union at all. For propaganda, the artist was rich, was famous, well paid, and everything. It was prestige to be an artist at all. And then, absolutely, like it, with knife, everything is over, just like that. And that's it. No money, nothing. And to survive like an artist, it was really hard because there is no money anymore. It's not like before. I know a lot of rich artists just with a lot of apartments, only to make a sculpture for propaganda. It was really well paid. And then nothing. And everybody of us start surviving with different ways. Especially, I don't know, completely is different. Maybe it's not like if you are competitive at like in the right way and born to be competitive. It was not like that. It was just crash, and we passed a really awful times. In the same time, was hope. Oh, this energy was amazing. If you go to this to feel it, to this big protest, everybody with big hope, and to change. The new life is coming. To freedom is coming. Everything is coming. In this moment, it was a boom of the alternative art. Of course, if you compare to the West art, maybe it's not so good, but it was full of energy. And here is no, it's end. It was start of the new practice, start of events, start of performance art, and different kind of. It was really, really enjoy. I can't explain it. I'm happy to feel this energy. It's like pushing us like a rocket. It's pushing. It's crazy again. It's not equal. It's not just jump into the freedom. And 20 years ago, realized there is no freedom. It's crazy, you know. But I'm happy to feel to pass this. And well, I start a lot of strategies. I work different jobs. 8 months in when my son was really newborn baby. I work on a studio of animation. It was sometimes I slept only 2 hours only 2 hours, and it was crazy. But I can do this, and yeah, it's maybe because you know choice. There is not survival. It's not in your mind. You just do it. You just leave it. And because I don't know, maybe I'm a crazy person. I'm positive. I'm never give up of anything. Thank you.
And Elena or Borana?
Sure, I guess we can follow this order. Well, I actually fall right in between Desislava and Boriana Rosinova. I was born in 1978. So I was 11 when the Berlin Wall fell. And my family, I was very lucky that my family was very much into the arts, and they always took me to exhibitions from when I was a very young child. So one thing that I was always drawn to was the storytelling and the symbolism in art and metaphor. So, in a way, when I think about how the artists before us, many of them, the strategies that they used, if they were not in alignment with the socialist propaganda, which this kind of propaganda is the mark of many regimes, many contemporary regimes have the exact same propaganda. So, if they were not in line with this, a very good alternative was to work with metaphors. where the message was not literal, was not spelled out, but instead of being a direct representation, it would create the images subtle and in a way more potent, layered meaning that invited the viewer to reflect and to interpret, but with many possible interpretations. So, in a way, coded messages created via use of images that borrowed from Bulgarian folklore and imagination. Some artists, I guess I'm thinking of, are Stream and Striwolf and Nikolai Maisturov. This very, very different type of work, but the messages were coded sometimes in a very poetic, playful way, sometimes in a very raw, emotional way, without them being explicit, which allowed those artists to not be penalized, yet create honest work of what they felt they needed to create and wanted to create. So, in a way, I'm very grateful for this exposure because in my own work, metaphor has a very important place. And I think in many different cultures and in art in general, metaphor is something that it's a potent way to create and to communicate. So yeah, perhaps this was one way, and this is still one way of when we think about artists working in Iran. We have a lot of graduate students from Iran at where I teach at University of Massachusetts Dartmouth, and this is a very effective way to communicate, to cope and communicate in such a system. But even without such a system, it can be a very charged tool for creation and communication. Boriana, I'll pass it to you.
Okay, yeah, thank you. It's hard to figure out when it's my turn. Yes, again, I'm actually happy to speak at the end because a lot of things have been said, but I want to focus mainly or mostly about the survival of a woman in a society which can be oppressive, or within a family that can be oppressive, or a micro community. So those are things that I think, as women artists, we are able to share across borders. Again, I'm just trying to keep this focus as well, because there is still a lot of prejudices and ideas that women are not as good as men in what they do. Metaphor is a great way to work with, but at the same time, there should be a space in which we should speak without that many metaphors. And for me, one of the strategies is to create this space by curation, by curatorial practice, and work with people who are, let's say, allies or somebody who thinks in the same direction, not the same way, but in the same direction, by this looking at certain issues or even aesthetics or what is interesting to us from different perspectives and presenting it in a space that we create. Once we do something that is interesting and engaging, regardless of the value of the space, regardless of how cool, what is the value of this line in your CV, like for instance, making an exhibition in your garage. So if this exhibition is making waves in terms of meaning, then it is very valuable entry in your CV. Again, regardless of the fact that it is not a museum. So I think those are some strategies of resistance that are across the boards and for varieties of reasons or for varieties of people whenever they encounter certain type of restraint.
Thank you. And also, I, I have one more question, but then I would love to open it up to the audience, and you can ask any question that you would like, just like it's coming up. But like hearing the experiences and hearing the strategies that you're sharing, what I think might be a good question to wrap it up and to bring back the attention to the exhibition that surrounds us right now. I would like to ask all the participants to share a little bit about how does living and working across different cultural contexts and locations reshape your own sense of identity. And we touched a little bit on that, but I would like to kind of hear a little bit more. I would like to invite you to share a little bit more. Talk about like the sense of identity, belonging, and elsewhere within the artistic practice. And again, I hope that it would be a bridge for the students to start considering their own practice.
I feel like I've been the first one, so I'll continue on. I love this question. It's a very meaningful question for me. I think as an expat, I've so much like adopted being part of a diaspora that is my center. I don't think it's the periphery anymore. That is my center. And I think, you know, being in a sort of diasporic community is multi-layered. Like, for example, I have my very good friend here, Professor Zornica Kalibatova, who I went to high school with. And being in the States, like, I search for my community in the Bulgarian diaspora to help me navigate this world. But I also married into a very large Lebanese family. So as an expat, I've been adopted by the Lebanese diaspora too. In my family home, I'm raising young bilingual children. So we exist in this space where I speak Bulgarian to them, and they speak English back to me, because that's what happens. There's always a dominant language in the family home. And my spouse is Lebanese, so he throws a little Arabic in there. So we're a very interesting sort of, there's a dynamic of being always in between languages, but also in between like cultural code and this kind of like baggage also that comes with all of that. So I wonder sometimes in my work, and the piece that you have right there on that back wall is mine, how language can be a kind of a portal or a way of connection to place. Like when I speak Bulgarian, I evoke my cultural background and ethnic background in those moments. And I feel like some of my recent work has been a way of trying to figure out how I can articulate this feeling of being in multiple places at once. And it's a very complicated feeling. I think you have to have been an expat for many years to really understand it, to feel like decentered in that way. But I've come to embrace that feeling of being decentered. And the distance that I feel towards my place of birth and culture has become a very productive distance. Like if you can think of cultural distance or emotional distance as like a condition under which you can be an artist, you can be a poet, you can be an art student learning like what you want to talk about. It's very formative. So I feel like this question can open up so many different cans. But I'll pass it on to the other participants, and then maybe we can kind of come back and make it more organic. Okay. I don't know if anybody online wants to jump in.
I can jump in. I think working across borders, and I think I said it, so I'm going to repeat myself, but working across borders and across different contexts and with different people, communicating with different people, it's really enriching. It is something that doesn't only make your practice more interesting, but at the same time allows you to communicate with all these different people and contexts, which makes your work also presentable or accessible for these contexts in a much more organic, much more adequate way. So that's one thing that I wanted to share, and but I also wanted to mention that this communication across cultures or between cultures is can be extended to communication across generations. Again, I mentioned this a little bit, and this is also what my work in the show is about. It is women in Bulgarian cinema, meaning characters, female characters in films, but also women who made these films and women who watch these films from different generations, looking at films or watching films starting from the 40s and 50s until now. I decided to mix them up and ask them to watch things that they haven't watched because they're too young, or maybe because they're too old and they haven't watched something new. So this mixture of culture, but between or among generations within people who speak Bulgarian and watch Bulgarian films, was another space in which I explored this condition of communication. And I found it very interesting. I found out that when people are intentionally put together with other people with whom they may not ever communicate, they suddenly start to discover things about each other and to discover also ways to share their own thoughts to people who otherwise they wouldn't reach, or who they wouldn't approach at all, or with whom they think they have nothing in common, but in fact they do. And they discover this only when they are put together in this in this situation in which they are not necessarily forced, but asked to reflect, to watch, to consider, and to discuss. So again, my one overarching word is enriching and also humbling.
Okay, I'm next. For me, especially, I will talk especially. I feel cosmopolitan in some way, because maybe it's again lies in our history. Bulgaria was the closest country at all socialistic bloc of the countries. We are not allowed to go abroad. It was only a few person that go abroad. That was, of course, the top of the country, of the government. And that's why I think Bulgarians love to travel. And I love to travel. I love to explore different countries and to see different cultures. I really love this. And everywhere I feel at home. I can say this. I can really fast to, what's this word?
Weave.
Yes, and like a torture with my house in my bag. Things, yes, just something like that. And I really love to compare different kind of systems of education, of art, and everything. And I feel, because if freedom is in my side, is in me, inside me, I feel free to express myself. It depends. Actually, I saw the difference. My art is a little bit different in Paris, from Paris, my stay there, and probably from here I start working. And after this, if the end of my stay, I can realize, is there any difference or not? But for any case, because I'm empathic, and maybe we artists are like this, we feel all around us and see this influence coming in through us, and then we make different choice to express. We'll see that I can say this. No border. I feel like a person without any borders, and that's it.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'll go last this time. thought I'd turn on my camera like you, Boriana, so we can see each other. I already answered in a way this question as far as hybrid identity and having that state of perpetual hybrid identity and my interest in metaphors. So in a way, I think of the how this has living and working across different cultural contexts and locations, how it has reshaped my identity and my sense of belonging and the elsewhereness within my practice. Again, through the lens of metaphor, because I'm so I really believe in the power of metaphor, and I think that when it's a incredible way to communicate with others, to evoke in others, and we all come from different contexts, but we also all have different overlaps. So in a way, through constructing images that work with metaphor and using symbolism, decontextualizing or recontextualizing an image, it draws the viewer and all into. I seek to draw in the viewer into a conversation about about our experience through the images that I create. So it's in a way it's internal self-reflection, but also external search for communication via those images. And if I have to self-analyze, I think it is so ingrained in me that everything that I think about is through that lens of metaphor. So I guess it comes from childhood. Thank you.
Thank you. Do we have questions? I would like to open it up to like questions from the audience, questions amongst participants. I'm out.
Yes.
Hi, so I'm Brooke. This is my first semester working as an intern in the gallery, and I had the joy to work with Desi to help set up some of the exhibitions. I really enjoyed being able to learn a lot about the history and culture of Bulgaria because I hadn't really known much about it before, and I had those little moments of you getting to introduce me to it, which I found great joy in. So my question is, when you show shows abroad, what do you enjoy about showing other people your culture?
What I enjoy to share. You ask me what exactly I want to share my culture to the others. It's a good question. I don't know. Actually, I think I can't answer clearly because our culture is part of me. And if I go anywhere, this culture goes anywhere with me. And I think when I present myself, I present at the same time my culture. Because I don't know if every Bulgarian is like me, but yeah, we are curious people. We love to learn new things. We are really fast with, maybe, as I said, it's like in our history. And because of this closeness, we like the foreigners. We are really friendly with the foreigners, and to share us and our culture and everything we have with others. It's answered the question, or they can say it's same maybe. If you come to Bulgaria and there is nowhere to sleep in the mountain, especially in the mountain, they will invite you at home. It's typical for Bulgaria.
The question is not for me, it's for Desi, but I make some really good Bulgarian yogurt. Food is like the best way, I think, to introduce people to your culture. So all the years I've been in the States, I tend to make I make yogurt, and I make this dish called banica, which is like a very traditional pastry that has feta cheese and things. So every like holiday or when I meet new people or I start a new academic job, I make banica for people. And also it's interesting to me to think about like culture versus nation state. The country of Bulgaria, the culture of Bulgaria is not the same as the state of Bulgaria, and that's true for any nation, right? So that kind of dichotomy is very interesting to me. So I like to share my culture, but I feel quite dubious about actually nation states in general.
Yeah, good. I didn't think about the food, but we have really, really good food. Mariana can say after. Yes. Yes.
Hi, my name is Christina Wally. I'm an adjunct professor here, and I have some past family history with the Berlin Wall and the falling of the Berlin Wall. And my question is for the artists that did have the opportunity to leave and study abroad. If you had not had the opportunity to leave and study abroad, do you still feel you would have a similar career path or be making similar artwork? And then the second part of the question is, do you feel that the average Bulgarian citizen today has the opportunity to leave and study abroad?
So the question is, sorry, it was a little hard to hear too, but I'll
Yeah,
repeat it, and then you can correct me if I didn't get it right. So the question is, if the artists who have left Bulgaria to study abroad, if that hadn't happened to them, if they didn't get the chance to leave and study abroad, do they think they would have had the same career had they stayed? That's the first part of the question. And then the second part...
or making similar art.
Or make similar art, thank you. And then the second part of the question was, do we think that now people in Bulgaria have opportunities to study what they want or to study specific art forms?
Art forms and also the opportunity to leave, an average citizen to leave and study abroad.
Do they have the chance to leave and study abroad? Desislava, do you want to go first?
Yeah, maybe that's because I know so much more.
I feel like the
about
second
this.
part of the question is for you, about
Yeah.
opportunities to
Yeah.
study and leave and
Now,
how that works.
as a part of European Union, all Bulgarians can go everywhere in the world, and they do this. We are a really small country, around 7 million only, but you can find Bulgarian all over the world. In the middle of nowhere, we can find some Bulgarian. We love to not survive, to explore the different ways. Every Bulgarian can now has free to study abroad if he wants to, but now we have the opposite phenomenon. It's more Bulgarians back to Bulgaria. They study, they live in different countries, and now they're back to Bulgaria because Bulgaria stay much every year is better and better to live and to feel free. And at the same time, it's still in Bulgaria we can make a business. We can do what you want to. There is free with this. It's not, it's everywhere is just finished. I mean, society, everything's just put in order, and you can go inside to make some changes or to jump fast and to stay. Bulgaria, you can right now because it's easier. You can do it. If you can open the gallery, you want to, if you want to. I think we have in our academy there is a lot of foreigners coming to study this traditional way, because we, at the same time, we are a citizen in the world now, and we have good traditions still live, not broken. And it's really interesting phenomena, because we are just in the middle between the West life and the West, in the East. Something we are just interesting mix, a lot of with contemporary thinking. We are not, how to say, we are open. Bulgarians are open to new ideas, and we make it interesting.
I'll be brief. Yeah, I mean, I think now with the EU, there's just so many opportunities to study anywhere, really, and the younger generations are taking a lot of advantage of that, to the point where I think that officials, leadership in the country are trying to figure out ways to actually retain, young folks in the country. But the first part of your question is a very interesting one. It's a question that's like dear to my heart. I would have not had the same life like at all. I would have not been an artist had I stayed. I didn't have a lot of art education in my experience. I went to public schools. My parents are engineers. They don't know where I came from. And I had interests in art and would just like kind of keep a sketchbook and things like that. But my experience of being an artist and learning about art happened as an exchange student in Missouri. I left at 17 and I went there for a year. And it was very serendipitous that like this art teacher in the middle of Missouri, a small town that you can't even see on the map, said, "You have some talent." And that really brought me to make an art portfolio and then become this journey, this life. So had I stayed, I think I would have studied history or languages, because that was like what at the time was interesting to me. And I went to a linguistics high school. I majored in English and minored in German. I don't remember any of the German, but English was easy. So yeah, I think I would have had a very different path. And then when I went to art school in undergrad, I met so many people who just would always say, I thought my whole life I would be an artist. And I would be like, wow, last year I figured it out, So I would have had a very different life. And I'll open it up to the other two participants on Zoom.
Okay, okay, it's me again. Yes, I will definitely have a different life, but I think any change in our life is what makes the life different. Regardless of the borders or the specificity of the space, if you move to another place, it is a different life that you will never had if you just stayed at the place. But I think so. Maybe like. Specifically, because for me, the idea of going to university in the United States and studying in this university, something very specific like electronic arts, was a choice that was very conscious. My parents are also engineers, but I have been. I grew up in the galleries in Bulgaria because my engineer. Parents would bring me there to galleries because for them the art of making things is across the disciplines and it is equally creative and equally important. So why I was interested in the hybrid of art, technology, and science, and this is what I do the most here. There were conditions in which I can develop this in Bulgaria, but I saw a lot more opportunities by being associated with the institution in which this is a field of research. Also, before going to the United States, I already had extensive international career. So it was not about just going abroad. It was, I had a CV with biennials and all these kind of things that actually made it very strong and easy to apply and to be accepted here, also in a PhD program. So for me, it was also a desire to continue working with artists across different countries, across the world that work in technology, but also to be able to access resources and community that thinks in a similar direction in which I'm interested. So it was like a choice of research. And for sure, I would have done the same thing in Bulgaria. It would be a little bit more limited. I would have probably traveled for sure. And we talked about the European Union, but even before that, I was traveling. But the resources that I could have used to develop my ideas would have been much more reduced. Right now, I also work with scientists in Bulgaria as well. So it's not that there is an emptiness, but the resources, especially in education, are not there for what I do.
I guess I can share that. Honestly, I think I would have been an artist no matter what, where I was. I was this very stubborn kid that loved art from very early on. And my parents, my mother is a classical musician, and my father was a sociologist slash journalist slash writer. So what my mom used to do is, because in Bulgaria we did not have babysitters, such a thing did not exist except for grandma and grandpa, if they were around. My mom would bring me to her concerts every Friday and give me a stack of paper and a pencil or a pen and be like, okay, just be quiet and listen. Therefore, I was drawing the whole time so that, every young fidgety kid, if you have something that you love doing, you just get absorbed. So I started taking lessons very early on. I was 9 when I started taking art lessons, and then I went to art high school. And then I transferred. I got a full scholarship. I was very fortunate to get a full scholarship to get to go to an art high school in the U.S. in Michigan. So this is how I came to the U.S. And continued to study art for undergraduate and then my master's, etc. So I would have followed the same path because, again, like very early on, I decided I want to be an artist. But obviously, I would have been very different. I really believe that every single choice you make, every single experience you have, changes you and changes how you think, in a way, what you do, what happens to you. So I have always loved, again, working with metaphor and the image, but again, everything changes you. So I'm sure that the form that my work would have taken would have been different too, no matter whether I stayed in Bulgaria or even if I just decided to go to a different school. So when all of you make your choices, I don't think you should make them with fear, but you should really think about, like, what do you love? What do you really want to do? I know it sounds really cheesy, probably, to say that, but I do tell this to my students, like, follow what you love, because you have one life, at least one life for sure. Some of us believe that maybe we have more than that, but like we have one for absolutely sure. So you might as well do exactly what you want to do, and make the best choices you can. Ask for advice, those, your faculty and those that you trust, your parents, your close ones, and it's a journey, but you define the journey, and then some things out of your control, but it's still your journey. So just follow it.
Thank you. I would like to thank everybody for coming to the panel, and thank you so much, everybody, for participating. This was great. For everybody who is not virtual, I also wanted to mention that there is food right on our side of the gallery, a small reception. You're welcome. And also, I would like to kind of wrap it up with the round of applause for our participants. Thank you.
Thank you, Mariana.
Thank
Go,
you
go
all.
get food.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Saying goodbye. Bye-bye.
Can't see you, but thank you for participating.
Yeah, thank you.
Panel.
Thank you for
Thank you,
inviting us.
Elena. Thank you, Buriana.
Thank you so much for having us.
Thank you for be part of this beautiful exhibition and
Nice to meet
part-
you.